Hello, everyone. We are episode 98, 5 Principles of Creative Abundance. Today we have Paulette Rees-Denis, and she is an awesome person to just talk to us about living with magic every day. We're going to talk about what magic is. It's not like this supernatural, like pull a rabbit out of a hat magic. It's pulling your soul out of the shell, unplugging from the matrix and being yourself. And so I've always said this, like creativity is massive for healing things like depression, which is basically soul sickness a lot of the times, or even just like getting you out of the rut and stepping out of the box. It's all about creativity. I want to remind you that we're coming up on that 100th episode and I'm doing some giveaways. I'm giving away a free coaching session, which is kind of like a get in touch with your feminine energy session. Also, entrance into my Stand, Speak, Shine School, which starts in January. And I'm taking applications for that as well. So maybe hop onto the Women Seeking Wholeness Facebook group, ask to join if you haven't already, and go check that out. I want to give you just a little bit more background on Paulette. She is a creativity business coach, speaker, dancer, author. In fact, she just came out with her 4th book, From Soulless Job to Creative Abundance, Find Fulfillment and Prosperity with Your Art. And she's also a leader of what she calls feminine celebration, which I absolutely love. I think we should all be celebrated. And we do this through our creativity. We do this through our connection. We do this through finding our creative zone of genius. So we're going to explore that today. Paulette, yay!
Yay!
Here we are.
I love it.
Oh my gosh, I loved being on your podcast and I just love your energy. So I was like, I need to bring you on mine.
Sweet.
And I even love like your email address is something about Gypsy Caravan or something. Oh, it's dance@gypsycaravan. I'm like, that's so cool. Like everything you're about, it just feels like you strike me as someone who feels free. Would that categorize you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have always forged my own path. but part of my thing now is to help others so they don't have to do all the hard work to forge their own path.
Yeah. Well, that's the cool thing. Like,
yeah,
even just being, and I've always said this about the feminine, when you're comfortable in your own skin, that's the best liberator of all to others, because you're just embodying something that you're just in alignment. So that's super inspirational. But I know that it wasn't always that way for you. So I like to climb into the pain points, because we see people who are free and we're like, okay, how there's a process. Yeah. What would you like to share with us?
Well, first of all, I just want to thank you for connecting with me again and having me on your show, because I loved connecting with you. Like you said, on my show, it was great. And I love what you're doing and the messages you're bringing and how you serve your people. And I just think you are brilliant. And
thank you.
And just so amazing. So I'm so glad to have this conversation with you. And I know we could talk for hours. So.
Oh, totally.
But totally. So, I really have been doing this sort of business for a really long time. And what this sort of business is that I do run a global dance company, which was called Gypsy Caravan.
Cool.
I have a trademarked dance style called Gypsy Caravan Tribal Belly Dance, but we have now switched the name over to Global Caravan, because my idealistic vision 30 years ago was to unite women of the world. Mm-hmm. And of course, this is before computers. I've been doing this a while, and I have. And it's so beautiful and so empowering and so magical and so creative. And that's just pretty much my whole life, is this feeling of tribe and connection and creation. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so the style is now called Global Caravan. But I think when I first started this, so part of the pain points would have been that I was multi-passionate, multifaceted. And I was living in San Francisco, and I was studying tarot cards, and I was doing massage therapy, and I was riding Harleys. I was a photographer, and I was in a band, and I was writing. I was doing all the things that I love. And it was like, how are you going to bring this together? And I was just writing an article about this the other day, actually. So it's kind of funny. But my dad used to say to me, Paulette, when are you going to do one thing? I'm like, I'm never going to do one thing. There's too much to live. But how do I make this come together to support me? I mean, how can I make a living doing this? This is what I love. And it's still so, it felt so like an octopus, right? You know, with so many arms. And so much of that is really, truly about patience. You know, it is about developing all your desires, studying, continuously studying. And way back then, we didn't have life coaches. Boy, if I had a life coach back then, bam, you know.
Oh, I could have used one 30 years ago.
Right, right. It's so true, so true. So I kind of wrote my own book, and actually I did. So I have 4 books now, but and so, you know, it was very confusing and overwhelming. And, you know, there were times when I didn't have any money. But it came into being because I believed in what I was doing. I believed in creating. I believed in being free. I believed in being a freak. And when I say that, I know it sounds funny, but, you know, I was this young girl in San Francisco, and I was getting all these tattoos, and I was going to art school, and I was in a rock and roll band, and I just wanted this lifestyle. So, you know, but I wanted to be of service. I wanted to share this idea of inspiration and telling people that they could be unique and authentic and individual and still survive. In fact, thrive, not just survive. Does that make sense?
Oh, totally.
And I mean, I know you know this, but it's so important because some people get so stuck into a lifestyle that perhaps their parents wanted them to be, or they think they have to fit into the norm. Otherwise, they'll never survive, or they're going to be a starving artist. I mean, there was that whole theory of being a starving artist. And no, you don't have to be that
I know.
way.
I'm so glad you're bringing that, because it is so, that is a pervasive, it's the same with the starving college student thing, right?
Yeah, sure.
That we've collectively bought into this whole thing of like, oh, when you're learning and getting your degree, you're going to be starving. And it's not just about food. Like, it's literally, yeah, I mean, going into a space of hunger. It's good. Artists and students need to be hungry.
Yeah.
Like spiritually.
Right, exactly.
That's
hungry
what
for
deepens
life.
everything.
Hungry for life, yeah.
Yeah, totally. But it's been skewed to be poor, to mean
Right.
poor.
Yep. And you're never going to make it. And why are you getting that degree? It's never going to feed you. I mean, all the stories, you know, from 3rd grade to college. I mean, you know, you could always come up with somebody who's going to tell you that that's never going to work. You're never going to make it. Even like my dad, who did totally believe in me, and he thought I was a freak. But when are you going to do one thing? Well, I'm not going to do one thing, but I'm going to pull these things together. And I'm going to develop my own thing. And I did.
And it's just, it's like you catalyzed everything. It's like you're this composite being that's so unique. And that's what's inspiring. Not everyone will choose to get tattoos. Not everyone will choose to, you know, explore dance, let's just say.
Yeah.
That everyone has this inner artist archetype that they need to embrace. And I had a guy on my podcast named, he's Sage Flow, but that's not his real name. But he is amazing. He teaches about the 7 archetypes, and one of them is the artist. And it's called the inner child / artist. Mm-hmm. And he said, when you step into your artist self, you heal your inner child. Mm. And so if we really want to be the best version of ourselves, and we really want to be integrated. And that includes all of our traumas and experiences through life, because inner child isn't just about what happened when you were a child. It happened, throughout even early adulthood and into adulthood. It's just not understanding who we are. So as you embrace your artist self, then you also, by osmosis, heal those parts of you that aren't integrated yet. You'll heal your inner child. So it's just funny that you brought your dad up, because I just have to say, that's the practical parent is like, when are you going to grow up? When are you going to pull this together? When are you going to get a real job, quote unquote? Or, what are you going to do when you grow up? We get those messages even into adulthood, like get a real job.
Right.
But if you're exploring your artist self, I couldn't have gotten a degree for what I'm doing right now.
No, there is no degree for this. But that's the other exciting thing that's happening right now, is that it's all about self-education. Mm-hmm. That I love school. I would go back to school forever. I got my master's when I was 50. I love school, but I love study because I love expansion. Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying that college is bad or wrong, but self-education, to step into continuous learning to grow yourself.
Right. Absolutely. And the best teachers and guides and mentors that I know are like avid learners.
Yeah, totally. Oh,
yeah, and I actually
there's so much out there.
I know we're going to talk about abundance, so I just have to insert this here because this is totally relevant. So I was listening to this like master teacher guy who's like a high level business strategist, really renowned, and I can't remember his name, but he was in this really kind of high vibe business meeting where you could only come to this meeting if you were making over like $2 million a year or something like that. And so there were quite a few people there. And he said, when they had a speaker get up on stage, every one of those multimillionaires were taking notes, scrupulous notes. They were fascinated. And it was just like kind of bringing home that whole, like, people that are successful with abundance are learners. They're open. That's why they're so expansive, because they've opened themselves to learning new ways and new innovations. So I just wanted to add, that's part of being an artist, is
it's so
openness.
True. Yeah, it's so true. And, and just going back to the idea of creativity, I just believe everyone is creative. Mm-hmm. There's so many people who are like, oh, I can't draw a straight line. It's like, well, don't. Draw a crooked one. I don't care. But it's a matter of changing your mindset on how you view life, because I believe in living with magic every day. Mm-hmm. And that is a creative source of power and beauty and awe and sustenance.
Absolutely. And I love that word magic. And it used to be a weird word to me, like a magic show or something crazy supernatural. But now it's just like, no, that's absolute joy. Mm-hmm. It's special. It's a special kind of essence. Yeah, I love the word. And to me, it feels like play. It feels like wonder and awe.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. No, okay. So back to your pain, like, lest we get too much in the wonder and awe, like, what was just that place where you're like, okay, I can't do this anymore, and now it's time to change courses?
Wow. So I could go into several different arms of this one. I think what really moved the needle for me was when I moved from San Francisco to Portland. And like I said earlier, I developed this particular style of dance. I innovated this style of dance. And I've been a dancer all my life. So I moved to Portland and I started teaching, and I was working a regular job, and it was a job that I really loved. I was a professional printer, being a photographer. I worked in a photography studio, and spent a lot of time in the dark room, which is so not like me because I got to have light. I got to have sun. But, and I started teaching, and I was really connecting, even though I didn't know what it was. I remember this so well. I didn't know what it was about this dance. And I connected so much to my inner being and with ancient, what's the word? Feelings, ancient, I'm drawing a blank here. Just this connection of a worldly unity with women from the past, with women of today. And I developed a style, and I mean, these steps, these moves would come to me in my dreams, and they just come out of my body because I was believing so much in this connection, but wanting to make this a movement for women of today to bring women together. And dance happened to be the format. Now there's a million different formats, right? But this was a format of bringing women together to create, to empower, to find beauty, to find art, to live life, to be healthy, and share and uplift each other. I mean, there were so many facets to this thing, and I just trusted so much. In fact, I talked about this on my Facebook Live today, to believe in your product, to believe in the outcome, and to believe in what it is you want to happen to your people, or for your people, with your people. You know, what is your service going to do? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'm kind of seeing like just this, I just did another podcast episode today, actually, on this kind of this whole vibe of, you know, staying in the energy of your intention, where it's no longer just words in your mind, like my intention is, and then you articulate it, but you have a vision of it and you feel it in your body, and it's just living in you. Yeah. And it's not something you can parse out necessarily with analysis. It's just, yeah.
Well, I think that's really one of the important things too, Cherie, is that it is in your body, and you have to have the body, mind, spirit connection. Because, you know, a lot of people stay in their heads all the time, and that's beautiful. But if you don't bring it out of you, then
the world won't have it.
Yeah, exactly. And you have to feel it, and you have to be it, and you have to, you know, let it flow. You can't just stay in your head. And which is why I teach a lot of journaling, is to get it out of your head and put it into words, because thoughts become words, become things.
So I know that you've written this book, From Soulless Job to Creative Abundance. It's all about the artist in you and finding prosperity and fulfillment with your way of art, whatever that might be. And I know you teach 5 principles that align with that. Would you mind kind of walking us through some of those, or all of them?
I will. Can I read a short poem?
Please.
Okay. So I'm also a poet. My third book was a poetry book, but I love bringing in poetry into this idea of creation and change. And this is called Starting Again. And this is in my book. This is in chapter 2. And it is about what we're about to talk about here. So starting again, continuously, curiously, ceremoniously, starting over. The morning brings newness, freshness, the ability to be, to become the truest, brightest self. Compassionate, patient, brilliant, prosperous, the vision, the embodiment of pure desire, of deep creation, of passionate longing. That curiosity that ebbs and flows like the blood red full moon that openly dances amongst the clouds, teasing me with her magical shine, with glimpses and glimmers of what could be, but always there, even in the darkness, waiting for the expansion.
That's beautiful. I was seeing all kinds of vivid imagery when I was listening.
Thank you. So, but you know, that's what it's about. It's waiting for the expansion. Is sometimes you've got to go into darkness, or you have to trust the darkness and allow it to flow.
And I think there's such a collective fear about that darkness. Yeah. The trust. I love that. Trust the darkness to go into expansion. So true. That's a serious truth bomb.
We love truth bombs. So the principles in my book, they go much deeper than what we'll probably have time to talk about. But basically, it's curiosity, which I love that word. It's getting curious about making change. So when you find yourself desiring something different, a new job or a new art or a new self-connection, whatever that is, it's getting curious about it and making change. I have this beautiful making change exercise in the book about writing out some of the old stuff that you want to let go of. And words, I will say this over and over again, especially as a writer and a poet, but words, you have to watch the words you use when you talk, when you describe yourself, when you describe your desires, or you describe what was or what is. You know what I mean?
Oh, totally. Yep. Words are powerful.
Really powerful. And
in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God.
There you go.
If you say it, it's happening on some level.
Yeah. I love that. So making change and desiring that change, because you have to make the commitment and make the decision that you want to make this change. And then you start working, and in my book, we go through steps to do that. And then the next step is self-care. It's rejuvenation. It's like falling back in love with yourself. And I love that. I love that idea of falling back in love with yourself. Because if you're in this place of wanting to make change, maybe you've fallen out of love with yourself, right? Mm-hmm.
Well, most of us didn't even know that if we ever were in love with ourselves.
Yeah, well, that's true too. So, and it's a morning ritual, and you may have heard about this in different ways from different people, whatever, but I call it meditate, percolate, and dance break. And I really do love this method. I love these tools. And I believe that it's one of the best things that you can do for yourself every day, is taking that time. And I prefer it first thing in the morning. Some people can't do it first thing in the morning. They might do it before they go to bed or even in the middle of the day. It doesn't even matter. But meditation is a big proponent of quieting your mind, connecting with your inner being, with your God, with your source, with the universe, whatever your spiritual inclination is. It's kind of a way of checking in and being super present. I mean, you're a meditator, correct?
Well, I would like to say that I am accomplished and practiced. I'm more honestly moving into meditation on the go, with my life being the spiritual practice.
Great.
I listened to Eckhart Tolle talk about this recently on a podcast. He talked about how it's just like meditation can be 10 seconds during the day, but in saying that, it works better for me, like you, if I have some time set aside in the morning and also even at night, so I can unwind, because that's where my mind starts to go crazy. It's all the things, the lists in my mind. So life works better for me if I have a devotional practice of some kind in the morning, with some yoga stretches, a guided meditation, some breath work, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And that's so, and then I'm, again, like I said, being a writer, I'm a huge proponent of journaling. And I always teach the morning pages from Julia Cameron's The Artist's Way.
Yeah.
And that's, so after meditation, whether it's a minute or 5 minutes or 15 minutes or an hour, wherever you are in that practice, to sit down and then write 3 pages of whatever. It's kind of like a brain dump. It's releasing things from your brain. It could be ideas. It could be dreams. It could be something that came up in meditation. It could be, I don't know what the hell to write, but releasing it from your head so that you don't feel like you have this jumble, this monkey mind. A lot of people call it the monkey mind. But to get it out. And that's what I mean is thoughts become words become things. Because if you keep it in your brain, it may never come out, or it won't find clarity. Right? It won't find a connection. It's just running around crazy up in your head. And then dance break. And that could be yoga. It could be going on a run. It could be riding your bicycle. It could be stretching in your kitchen, but moving your body. Again, embodying all that you are, and raising your energy. This is creating your day for success. This is setting yourself up to have beautiful energy for your day, beautiful clarity for your day, your work day or your play day or whatever it is that you're doing. But it's raising your energy. It's getting present in your body so that you can move forward with beautiful intention.
That's awesome. And I think the pivotal thing with this is moving energy through you. So that's why you move your body, is because we can get all this stuck energy there. You were saying with the artist's way, with the morning pages, it's getting things out. It's moving them out. And we tend to feel better and lighter when we do that.
Yeah. I mean, here's a great couple minute story that happened to me the other day, and here I am, the, mover and shaker, but I was in a seminar. And, it was one of those intense sit down kind of, listen and write and whatever all day long. And then someone came in and said, okay, now we're going to get up and kick some ass here. And led us on a 20-minute workout. And in the middle of the workout, I started crying because it was intense. It was an aerobic type of workout, but it was so good. It was like moving energy out of my body. There's some stuck stuff in there. Maybe it's just from sitting all day, or maybe it was stuff from before, but you move your body and you move that energy. And if you have stuck stuff, you can release it. And it felt so good. It was like, oh my God, I haven't worked this type of movement. I mean, I do yoga almost every day. I run, I bicycle. I'm really quite active. And this was just a different type of movement, and it got me. And it was fantastic.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I know sometimes when I'm writing, because I'm getting ready to hopefully publish something at the beginning of the year. So I'm pretty much in a heavy writing phase right now. And I find that I get writer's block, which if you think about it, that's just blocked energy. It's just something stuck there. But when I get up and go for a walk or do something with my body, or, run up and down the stairs or something, I generally get the aha I need and the flow I need to come back to my work and write. So it's when I'm stationary and I'm just sitting there trying to make it flow and it's not flowing. I'm like, literally need flow in my body. Like I literally need my energy to flow. So
well, whenever you get into that place, you got to get up and change it. You just get up and move, do something different. Right? Yeah. Awesome. I love that. Well, I'm excited about your book.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Very cool. I can help you with that. And then the third principle is about changing your story. So in the second principle, you change your state, and then you change your story. So I teach you how to rewrite your story. So you don't have to have the same story you've had for the last 20 years or the last 5 years or the last 50 years. Because we get stuck in those stories. It could have been someone else's story that they said you were going to live, or, it's like, oh, I can never do that, or I can never afford that, or I don't have time for that, or, I'm too stupid for that, or I am imposter, or whatever those stories are. But learn how to rewrite it, because you change it. Only you can change it.
I love that. And what's number 4?
Number 4 is talking about money.
Okay.
Money makes the world go around. I love to think of that song in Cabaret, right? It's one of my favorite movies where Liza Minnelli and Joel Grey are singing about money. Money makes the world go round. And it's true. But here's some more stuck stories. And especially for women. Who don't think they can make money, who don't think they deserve to ask for more money, who are afraid to raise their rates, who are afraid to ask for money, who are afraid to open their own businesses. There's so many old money stories. I mean, have you found that?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I've had to work through that myself, and I've done a few podcast episodes on rewriting the money story. And it's a heavy thing for women because traditionally our mothers and grandmothers were not out there even thinking about their money story. They weren't even in the arena of creating their own job or entrepreneurial work or business or project or something that would require, unless they were just doing it for creative fun, but that wasn't something women typically focused on at generations past. So this is a new era of women who I think marrying like your passion and your artistic, gifts and art coming in many forms, as you know, is where the real money comes. I think there's a quote like where passion goes, money flows. And I love that.
There you go. Well, and learning how to give and receive is also part of that money flow.
Oh, for sure. That just the energy exchange piece of it.
Exactly. And it's just energy. It's just energy, and supporting someone else and going after what is going to raise you up is going to end up raising you up, which is what you want. So, it's so sad when someone says, oh, I don't have enough money, I can't afford that. It's like, well, you can afford it if you want to. There you go. Change your words.
Which in turn, changes the story. It changes your energy.
And if you want it, you'll find a way to get it. You want to go take a vacation, you always find a way to do that.
Most women are pretty resourceful for if they really want something, finding a way to do it. So at least that's what I found. A woman on a mission, right? That she wants it, she'll find a way to create that. Why not use your gifts and have that flowing consistently rather than just, oh, I want this here or that there. I'm a huge proponent of just turning on that pipeline for flow and finding a way to create doing what you love and marrying those two together.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Turning on your pipeline. Awesome. And then the fifth thing is really about getting into more of the practical, setting strategies. And I call it making your map, which is your magic action plan.
Oh.
And it's getting down to the practical and learning what it is you need to do, prioritizing, but knowing the purpose and knowing your why. You want to know what the outcome is, but you want to know why you want to do that thing. And that's the biggest question in most all of this is why.
Because you can do almost anything if you know why you're doing it.
Exactly.
If you have that perspective, it'll get you out of bed. It'll get you to do the things you don't maybe love doing. But you can fall back in love with those things when you know why. Sure.
I mean, why do you want to wash the dishes?
Because you love the feeling of a clean house. Well, actually, we're always searching for a feeling. I've learned that too. We're not searching for a thing. We're searching for a feeling that thing we think brings us. Perfect.
Because that's it. Ultimately, we want to feel good. That's all there is.
Right. And I tell people if they're in a space where they don't feel good, but they're trying to make it fit and it's not flowing, move on. Because it's ultimately your soul wants you to feel good, and it's not selfish.
No.
It's abundant minded. It's expansive. It's actually super high vibe and very, very spiritual. So yeah, I have a lot to say about that.
Oh, I love it. Keep going.
No, I just, have lived a lot of my life trying to please other people, thinking I could fit into this place or whatever, or doing this thing. And it's like, no, it's not really, it's just, I've been trying this for decades and it's not aligning for me. Why would I keep trying to do that? But it's a careful process to be able to parse out what really, because, we do have to do things we don't love doing. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying shy away from, like, sacrifice is a real thing. You should have to, especially if you're a parent or all these other things, like you should have to sacrifice certain things, but not at the expense of you not feeling good.
Right.
Like you have to, what kind of parent are you if you feel terrible, if you're miserable, if you're feeling unfulfilled? Like it's not going to help you show up as a good parent. So
Right.
I believe your art is tied into that feeling good thing, which is everything you're about, everything you're saying.
To create life as you want it to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I would love to keep going. I feel like we should tidy this up. Is there, first of all, tell us where we can find your book and where we can find your work, and then any parting thoughts.
Oh, good. So my book is now available as a digital download as well as a paperback on Amazon. Again, it's called From Soulless Job to Creative Abundance. You can come to my website and download a free PDF if you would like to do that. Some people really want the physical copy, and I think that's awesome. I still love books in my hand.
Oh, yeah, I do too. Yeah. I don't do ebooks.
Yeah. And I actually do ebooks because I travel a lot, so it's really convenient. But there's certain books that's just not going to happen. It's just got to be a real book. So, my website is www.paulettereesdenis.com. You can come and join my list and get a free PDF about some inspiration and get my free book. And then I also have a free gift for all you friends out there. And it's my companion course that goes with this book, From Chaos to Creativity. It's a 5-week course. And I think you have the code, so you'll put that in the comments somewhere. Yes. So when you check out, you just put the code in, and then you get this beautiful online course. And I would love to know how it works out for you.
Oh, that's so generous of you. Yeah. I'm sure our listeners will jump on that.
So that's what I do.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Paulette. This was really great. I took a lot of notes. This was really inspiring for me to just get back in the game, no matter how imperfect and messy my art is.
Yeah.
I always tell people creation is super messy. When Michelangelo was painting Sistine Chapel, he had paint all over him. He had to. All we saw was the finished product, right? We don't see everything that goes into that process. So yes.
And think about it this way: you can turn your mess into a message.
Oh yeah, that's actually on my website because it's one of my favorite quotes of all time.
Oh, isn't it great? I know, I love it too.
Mess is my message.
Yep.
Absolutely. And again, that's where the art lives. We are the walking art. We are the living embodiment and expression of all the messes and triumphs that we've been through.
And to be imperfectly perfect,
yes.
To just do it. There really isn't anyone judging you. You're probably your own worst judge, but to just do it, just be it and show up and participate and have a good time.
I love it. Thank you, Paulette.
Thank you. It was so fun talking to you again.
It's so fun to just be in the zone of kind of celebrating yourself, being this magician in your life. There's so much to explore and receive, create, like it's limitless. And I think we just get so bogged down with responsibilities and have-tos. So I just love her take on these principles of abundance. The first being curiosity, just get curious. And that dance break thing, I have noticed when I do that, things actually get more fun. I'm not so serious minded and I don't take things so serious. And you are a work of art. So finding your art is part of developing your own being as a work of art, or I should say, letting the masterpiece reveal itself. Paulette has an amazing freebie for you guys. You can get her 5-week online course From Chaos to Creativity free by going to that link in the show notes, which is globalcaravan.com/product/from-chaos-to-creativity-online-course. And there you can enter the coupon code upon checkout, creativity gift. So go check that out in the show notes. Have a glorious week. And remember, you are a limitless feminine creator.